It's pronounced.
This is the Sim Pit. I'm your host, Sean Cole. Wow, everything's going wrong. Look at that. We had it all set up. We're on time and nothing started as planned. Let me just do a little more clerical work here. Okay, we got our chat up and running. Good morning. Happy Friday. How you all doing out there in sim racing land on this beautiful kickoff to a new spring weekend? I'm pretty pumped. I'm pretty excited. No, I'm not drunk. That was Darren and Thomas. That was the clip. I have a couple of clips at the ready for when certain things come up in conversation. They don't, and I don't force the topic, but that one came up unnaturally. But yeah, I have that clip at the ready for if we're ever in debate about how you or what you call fanatic. Fanatec, fanatic. Yeah. It's evidence of the existence of the past. How are you guys? What's going on? What's new in your world in sim racing? Are there things that you think about, before we even get to our world, the Sim Pit? Are there things that going on in your world that you think? I say it fanatic. No, I say fanatic. I go back and forth apparently. So anyway, I just want to welcome everybody who's watching here on YouTube. I want to welcome everybody who is also watching on Twitch. We do have this show going on both. Not 100% sure we're going to do that forever. Yeah, Chris is over there on Twitch. Hi, Chris. I think you might be all alone. Seems like the bigger crowd has migrated over to YouTube at this point. So there are a few things I want to talk about in sim racing today. Not a lot going on. I'm looking at my board and I can see all the way to the Reddit page on my tab. So not a lot of stories, but I think a few things that are worth talking about, and certainly a good way to kick off the weekend. So it is a big weekend for some. We have an endurance race this weekend. It is a big weekend in that respect, the iRacing Nürburgring or Nordschleife. And so that's always cool going on. But let's talk about the Sim Pit, and then we'll move on to things like iRacing and all that kind of stuff as well. Alternate order to cube controls. I still haven't figured out, my restream chat is very slow by comparison to direct. I'll give a big shout out to everybody watching from jail. I'm sorry. I hope you get out soon. I hope whatever you did wasn't too heinous. Nicor, how you doing? That's Celine Witcher. Let's see, where's my... I'm not getting my notifications. All sorts of things aren't working properly. But I'm not going to let any of that stop us from having a fun show and talking about cool things. So, last week, I was, 2 weeks in a row. Sorry, guys. Forgive me. 2 weeks in a row, I'm running a little bit behind. So, last week, we did not make our Thursday mark. And I'm just being honest with you guys. I think I'm the only one really holding myself to a standard. But you got to have goals, right? So, hello, Vancouver Island. Ken Barth, Sim Aviator. We have a few friends from Vancouver Island. Phil, aren't you on the island? And I have done a lot of work with VRX Simulations over the years. I know they're from Vancouver Island. And yeah, that's a good question. Andrew White, how you doing, buddy? Happy Friday. So last week we didn't make our mark. Why? Because it was a really big show. It was a longer edit, a lot of pieces to bring together. But we did get our review with Sim Magic Tyler Wang. So Tyler Wang is one of the heads in charge over at Sim Magic. And Sim Magic, is one of those companies that has made a really big difference in sim racing this year. We were talking about me slacking. Oh man, I'm trying to keep up. We just have so many things. So last week it was this hour and 11 minute long interview with Tyler Wang talking about everything past, present, and future of Sim Magic. And yeah, thank you, Ed Missenton. Yeah, he's a fun guy. He's, what I love about Tyler, he's super passionate about sim racing. So, he's one of those people I can just talk all day because he'll talk about anything in sim racing and he'll talk in great detail. So, humidity and no AC. That is why I'm a West Coaster right there, Andrew. People ask. People wonder Why am I a West Coaster? Humidity and AC. That's why. So anyway, yeah, we did get that interview out. If you haven't seen it, it was a really cool interview. I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun editing it. And it's one of those videos that I'm really proud of. So when I put it out there for everybody to see, I'm real happy. And that makes it extra special. So you should check that out. But you'll notice we did not put a video out yesterday. So again, we are running just a little bit behind. John Hill! I was thinking about you, buddy. How you doing? Anyway, we will have our video out tonight. I'm shooting for. I'm going to work all day. I promise you. Humidity is life. The next video coming out, which will be coming out tonight, is what I am calling our iRacing 3.0 review. Now, I know a lot of you guys run iRacing. That's awesome. That's great. But I just thought, man, it's an evolving sim. I talk about evolving sims all the time, about how sims don't come out with a box title. Like, it's so obvious when there's a new F1 title, which we'll talk about later in the show. But, you know, each year they come out with an annual release. It's very easy to get your head around when to review, right? Oh, new release, you do a review. Well, in evolving sims, like Assetto Corsa Competizione, R Factor 2, Race Room, and iRacing, and you can say, well, they're not going to come out with a new title. They're going to come out with their releases on their schedule, which we've talked about, because we see the development schedules for most of these sims now. So, with that said, when do you review it? And I just felt it was time to revisit the title, and I think some of you can enjoy it because you'll be able to agree or disagree with me. That's always fun, or have your own opinions that might differ from mine, and I always invite that. And then on top of that, it's for people who maybe haven't tried the sim yet. Olash, well played. Very funny. Is RF2 still alive? I dare say it is, but you know, yeah. Yeah, Caitlin, I agree. And that's what we're trying to get back on the pace. I mean, I try to keep up with certain amounts of the updates as far as the news goes here on the Pitstop show, or our coffee sim news and talking sim racing. But significant patches or updates or significant content releases need to be covered by us, the Sim Pit, and that is the kind of stuff. So as you've seen an increase in quantity of videos, now that we have a certain consistency, we were able to bring the Pit Stop back to YouTube, because it wouldn't, you know, we had so many live broadcasts there diluting the overall content. iRacing has done a better job of splitting things apart. YouTube has done a better job of splitting video and live apart, and our video creation is on a better pace, so it can't. So anyway, we have a really good balance. The next step of that is doing exactly that, adding those supplemental, we'll call them videos, things that aren't quite as significant as our Thursday release videos, that do tend to be things like Junkyard Rig, or Thrustmaster T818 review, or interview with Tyler. So we'll try to have 4 headliners, you know, and then a few extra videos like those things moving forward. Just you know, just always being transparent. All right, speaking of transparency, I hate to show the photo again. Thank you so much, Amir, for this. It couldn't be a worse. This could not be a worse picture for what we're doing, but that's why I think we're going to run with this. The Sim Pit podcast. Amir Assad and I will be having a video podcast periodically. We haven't set a schedule yet, but I can tell you the first edition of this is tomorrow. So, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., same time we started this show, if you're at a different time zone, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be doing bringing back Amir to the show and talk about some of the things I just mentioned, and like how we're moving forward with the Sim Pit. Our first edition of the podcast is going to be very self-centered, self-serving, where we are going to talk about the Sim Pit and us and moving forward. And then in the next episode, you will see us taking on a big topic and going into great detail, maybe even bringing industry professionals to assist us on that specific topic, like maybe VR or force feedback or physics or anything we feel like going into better detail with. And I think the frequency of the show will be based on our ability to come up with topics that deserve talking about for, an hour or so. And if you have any suggestions, always hit me or Amir up if you have ideas of what you think would make a good episode of the Sim Pit podcast. So tomorrow morning, I have it set up right now. I think it'll be just easier to run it where we're going to run Restream, and we'll be able to put it on both Twitch and YouTube. And the reason I say it is I just have it set up right now to do that very well. So with that, moving on. What else is going on? Now we can move away from the Sim Pit. We'll finish with the Sim Pit at the end when we talk about Sim Pit racing. What a sexy couple. Step Brothers. I think that's probably what that picture is, John. I think you got it. Hopefully there will be some comedy and keep you guys be entertained. And if not, we'll just keep putting this picture up. No, Tom Jones, me and Amir have never met face to face in person, unfortunately. What a sexy couple. Look, we're just trying to hit all groups. We just want people to understand how inclusive the show is, right? And I think this picture represents just how inclusive. So we're inclusive to all Sims, we're inclusive to all people, we're inclusive to all things, and this picture represents that. I think it's gonna be our spot. Thank you, Amir. Great, Amir pushing the picture. I love it. So there we go. All right. David asks, we do need a Sim Pit cookout. I just don't know. I mean, I am far away off the beaten path for most people, so it would always be tough to pull off. That's the beauty and the Achilles heel of sim racing, right? The beauty is here we are. Here we're a group of people hanging out talking about sim racing every week, and, we're all over the world. And then on the flip side, unfortunately, and we can get together anytime. Unfortunately, it makes it virtually impossible to get together in person. So, all right. Yeah, I wish I could run out and buy myself a... What do you call that pattern? Oh, shit, there's a name for that pattern. I should know it. I used to be preppy enough that I should know that pattern's name. I should go get myself one of those sweater vests for the show. That would be too funny. No, it's not a wave pattern. No, it has a... Argyle. Yeah, that's it. I believe that's Argyle. Plaid? No, I think plaid is more straight up and down, isn't it? Plaid is straight up and down lines and block patterns into it, if I'm not mistaken. This is Argyle. I was into both at one point in time in the 80s. I'm not gonna lie. I wore a lot of plaid in the 80s, shirts and shorts. And believe it or not, I would even do something as cross-sacred as like wrong plaid with each other. And then, yeah, I had an Argyle sweater or two. I'm not gonna lie. I was a preppy at one point, and then I went through all of the different phases in the 80s, believe it or not. So at one point, I was preppy, high and tight, and, listening to Wham! And then at some other point, I was long hair, leather jacket, listening to Motley Crue. And that was all within a 3 or 4 year period of time. I'm not lying, and I wish I had pictures to prove it. So, and if you are being honest out there, how many of you can say the same thing? I bet a few of you can say the same thing. In between, I went naked. All right, let's move along. I think it's definitely time to move off this photo here. Wake up before you go. Sim Pit events, what's happening? All right. Did you notice the change in hand color? Yeah. Amir had some very light hands there. All right, so a little bit of news on the World of Outlaws front. You know, the dirt racing game by iRacing for the console, via with Monster Games and all that. Great looking photo, by the way. I mean, shit, that photo looks better than iRacing, does it not? There, I know a lot of you guys do some dirt, sprint car stuff. And have you ever seen it look like that in iRacing? First concert was 1987 Motley Crue. Flock of Seagulls. Oh, I love Flock of Seagulls, John. For, like 5 months, I think, or so. 5 months. A CD. Like for one ownership of a CD phase. First concert. All right, David S., I got to take this one on. I don't remember the year. I could figure this one out because it's such an iconic moment. I'll figure it out. I want to hear from you guys, but you guys are old dogs. I know this has nothing to do with sim racing, but I want to know that the first concert you ever went to. Let's see here. Nope, not at the boardwalk. No, not at the boardwalk. No. What was that movie theater called? God damn it. Santa Cruz. Kiss. I see Kiss a couple of times. The Tubes. Del Mar Theater. Okay, here we are. The Tubes at Santa Cruz. Del Mar. Oh, come on. I found this once before. All right, what do you guys... I'm going to look at your guys' answers. Caitlin, I had that haircut... like wings, feathered tips, I dyed tips, like weird shaped hair. My first concert was a band called The Tubes. How many of you even know or have heard of The Tubes? It's pretty old. The Tubes... Del Mar Theater. Here, let's try another way. Del Mar Theater. The Tubes Band. It's actually, if you knew the act of the Tubes in the 70s, and to think that my mom was in theater and all that kind of stuff. This would have been like 1975 at the Del Mar Theater. It was a movie theater that still had a stage. And they were a very warped band. Anyway, it was about 1975 that I saw the Tubes, and I would have been about 7 or 8 years old. It was pretty crazy. The second concert I saw was... Oh, wow. The second concert I saw actually would have been... oh my god, why am I'm... How can I brain fart? The guy who now does every movie score in the world. Dead Man's Party. Come on! I can't remember. Orange. Wait... Oh, God. I gotta get off this. I can't even remember what I'm doing. Forget it. All right. Back to iRacing. So, the point... Sorry for that, you guys. Danny Elfman, thank you. Yes. What was the band? That was the second concert. And then from there, I went on to see just about every concert in the world. I was really blessed. My mom, like I said, my mom worked in... theater and music, and look at the comments. I'm there. I'm looking at the comments. Oingo boingo. Thank you, David S. Yeah, Oingo Boingo. That's it. That's it. That's it. All right. So, anyway, and then I saw everything because when Pacific Amphitheater opened in Southern California in 1983, I believe it was. I was born in '68, Alesh. My mom worked there, and so I had backstage passes and like front 10 row center seats. Sometimes we'd opt for like 20th or 30th row because it's better sound. But I'd have backstage or all access passes to everything for the opening season of Pacific Amphitheater, which was epic. And then all my friends were concert goers, so then it was on to see just about everything. It played at the Coliseum, Pink Floyd, Bruce Springsteen, all of the big shows of LA through the 80s and early 90s. And then I stopped going to concerts for the most part. All right. So, sorry guys, sorry. How many I should look. How many viewers do we dropped like half of our viewers in that last rap, by the way. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm trying to not talk about birthdays this year, you guys. So, anybody who really wants to know, I really am trying to not talk about my birthday. I'm not looking forward to my birthday. 5 festivals and 4. Dude, Lord Lucifer, that is epic right there. I never really did any festivals. It just seemed a little more than I can handle. Shit, Bruce Springsteen was a little more than I could handle. He was there for like 5 hours. Tom Jones, shut up! Shut up! I know, isn't that Caitlin? I'm so pissed about that, to be honest with you. I'm not pissed. I got over it. I'm disappointed. That's a better word. Whackin'. Was it Wiccan or Whackin'? All right. Anyway, over 2.5 million people have played Outlaw Streetcars. Tom Jones, all I want for my birthday is peace of mind that this show's going to have the budget, the enthusiasm, the subscribers, and the sponsorship to continue on. That's all I want. I want to keep doing my show, man. It's been a rough year. So, yeah, I just want to keep doing my show. That's what I want for my birthday. Yeah, Dave, I know. All right, iRacing. On to iRacing. Other normal iRacing. So, yeah, over 2.5 million people have played the Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo version of Outlaw Sprint Car, which is pretty cool. All right, iRacing. Motorland Aragon is in development and will be arriving in iRacing soon. Vamos. Espanol. Tom Jones, I wouldn't know what to do with the 25-year-old woman anymore. I don't know if there's anything sexy about my streaming, David. I don't know if we're gonna make a buck on sexy. I don't know if sexy's gonna get us there either. All right, this is really cool. This was posted by North Wilkesboro Speedway, obviously retweeted by iRacing. And here is the post, and I'm going to show the pictures. 3 years ago today, it was just a dream. Next week, we're back for real, y'all. North Wilkesboro Speedway. Notice Barney? That's Barney. That's Barney with a guest appearance at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Man, I meant to have my disclaimer. I had a dream last night about my foreign language massacring of words disclaimer, and I wanted that at the ready right here on my Stream Deck, and I don't have it. So there is Steve Myers and Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there selling souvenirs. Apparently they're sold out. I don't see a lot. Ooh. All right. And there's someone doing some victory donuts. And And there's some shots over the grandstand. Anyway, yeah, that's going on. Also, going on this weekend, starting tonight, actually, I think, depending on the split. So, Friday at 2200, Saturday 7 GMT, Saturday 12 GMT, Saturday 16 GMT are the 4 different race brackets for the iRacing Nürburgring 24 hour. 24 hours, you guys. They're going to be running GT3s, GT4s, touring car, and Porsche Cup classes. Utilizes part of the GP Strict course for a total length of 16.8 miles or 25.9 kilometers per lap. That takes balls of steel, you guys. And I want anybody who's taking part in this event, I'm going to give you applause, a pat on the back, and a big best of luck to you. It's a big one. Yeah, Joe, 10 laps in 24 hours. The Nürburgring 24 hour. And I've given my thank you to the general world, and I appreciate everybody who does run. And now I'm going to give an extra big thank you and an extra giant set of balls. No, a big thank you, and I'll really be rooting for SimPit Team Blue and SimPit Team Orange. We've got a whole group of guys out there who are going to be running in the SimPit colors together. And that's one of the... Oh, man, what a community we have here. This is what I love. This was not orchestrated by me. This is our community pulling together on their own, putting their own team together. I have a good friend all the time who's like, oh, I want to go do endurance racing. I'm like, dude, why don't you jump in our community? Like, you've been... We have racing, we have league racing, and yet he fails. And he just doesn't know what he's missing out on. Because if you're looking for, like, hey, how do I even get involved and get on an endurance team? Well, you find a community like ours that has an active racing participation. You know, there are a lot of YouTubers out there, and I'm not trying to take away from anybody, but I am going to pat us on the back. We have a whole community that is the SimPit. It's not just me reviewing. It's not just Amir and me doing the SimPit podcast. No, it is a whole community of racing and people helping people on hobby projects to go way, way beyond sim racing. We might be talking 3D printing. We might be talking motorcycles. There's so many things that go on in our community. Anyway, back on topic. Big shout out. Big best of luck, and I'll be rooting for you guys. Ola Sarnquist, Johnny Alford, Chris Schultes, and Brandon Carl running SimPit Team Blue. SimPit Team Orange is going to be made up of Callum McLeod, Phil Scrutton, Wouter Van Moork, Dave Blair, and Ken Estep. So, you guys, this is a big one. This is a tough one. And I wish you the best of luck, and I know you guys are the best of the best when it comes to getting out there and just bringing it home. So, don't know. I think it's Team Blue. Yeah, Team Blue is going to be in the Porsche, and Team Orange, I believe, is going to be in the GR86, just to give you guys an update. So, yeah, anyway, if you're out there, you want to be in the next endurance event, get into the SimPit Discord. I'm going to make that really easy for you guys right now. And I'm going to give you this link, and I'm going to put it right here. And how can I do it here? Why is this chat not going to the bottom of the page? Sucky chat. There we go. And I'm going to put it right there. Yeah, if you want to get into some endurance racing, you want to find a good oval, road, rally, Assetto Corsa Competizione League, get into the SimPit Discord. We have all that going on with or without me. I mean, it just, like, that's the thing. It's community, SimPit community stuff, and it's the best thing in the world from my perspective. So, all right, you guys. What else? And yeah, good luck, you guys. Good luck. So, Race Room, we talked about their release schedule and what kind of things. We talked about this last week, and we are getting some sightings, though. So, this is the M4 GT3 BMW, which that is a pretty sharp-looking car. starting to get used to that gigantic grill that everyone talks so much smack about way back when. But I will say the car shape, BMW does something with their styling that I do love. So yeah, we're getting a few tidbits. Ooh, look at that. That looks like a fun course, you guys. Circuit de Pauville. Very cool. Very cool. All right, I think we had a little more on the race room. There's another shot of the BMW. I think we had more shots of the BMW. Here we go. A couple more shots of that BMW. You know, David Payne, enduros are one of the best ways to bump up your rating in iRacing. I mean, if you guys have even a decent run, you make massive improvements on things. So, nice chart. Yeah, that did look a little bit like a Dodge Charger, didn't it? Oh, that does. No, it doesn't. That's a 19. I don't know. All right. Anyway. All right. There we go. I need my disclaimer. Poville. Yeah, someone's just rolling their eyes at me like, come on, dude. I think that's all we had from Race Room. Yep. All right. Oh, no, we had this as well. So coming up, has it started? Race Room ranked event, Bathurst 2 hours. I think it's starting like right now, you guys. I'm going to give you guys the link if you want to check it out. Is that loud or is it me? Dave, a 2-hour stint can be brutal. I have been in a 2-hour stint where there was no way to go to the bathroom during the pit stop, and the last 20 minutes were unbearable. But it was a morning run, and I had drank a lot of coffee. So if you're in the morning, I need to not drink coffee. Yeah, we probably just had our stream wrecked for that, by the way, for playing that music. I thought this was... Oh, there it is. 56 minutes from now. Dubstep's dead. No. You racist, Tom? Joe, oh, Joe, you had me. You had me for a blink of an eye. For one moment, I was like, no way! Caitlin, I know, and that's why I don't endurance race very much anymore. Or I'll have to resort to things like what Dave's talking about. All right, I need to move topics along quickly. Here, I have my new distraction. So in case anybody want to go further into that topic, which I don't, I'll just go back to this. This will be our default escape from everything today. David's spotting. It'll be a great conversation. I want the audio from that race, by the way. Yeah, Brian, that is the toughest part of a key. You know what's funny? I've done 3 hours in a real car, and it didn't make me need the bathroom. And the real reason, I think, is because in the real car, you sweat a lot in sim racing, or I do, but it's not the kind of sweating that makes you unhydrate. It's like just that I'm hot sweating. In a race car, you're doing that almost cardio type sweating, which means you are dehydrating yourself. And so then it ends up being a lot like being on a bicycle. So, Yeah, I find that in a real race car, I don't have to go to the bathroom nearly as much as I do in the sim. Hey Joa, I thought I'm just supposed to drop a knee and give a warning below. Um, have I tried PS? No, I have not tried the PSVR 2 and GT7. I would love to. I could reach out to them and see if they would send one out, Apex. I'm a little behind on my console stuff. We're gonna try to get VR back in action here in just the next couple of weeks, actually. I'm gonna set up a second rig here, and one of them is gonna be VR capable, which we have not had for a while. That's a great question, Tom. That's why I have a fan sitting right there at the ready, and I have a portable AC sitting in that room over there at the ready. So. In a real car, you're in a motion, it affects your whole body, and we're used to long car trips, but your sim sitting in it. Yeah, I think that's it too, Dave. I think that's a part of it. I think there are a few factors that are different. I tense up differently in sim racing than I do in real life as well. And I think part of that is because my body's not counteracting G-forces. So when you're constantly even though you're belted in, your body's constantly dealing with the G-forces. And I think that action alone has you flexing like your middle section and areas that in sim racing, I just am over tensed in like the opposite direction. So I think that's where that harms things a little bit. Here, I'm going to move my chat. I like this chat best, and I can see it here. All right. Yeah. Billy B. Foot. What did John say? I miss John. The real reason they changed seats for John, yeah. Everyone has their cushion. What they don't tell you is it's a potty cushion. Tom Jones, I'll be able to test that soon. I supposedly have a new motion system platform on the way here. That's as much as I'm going to say because it's not here and I don't want to jinx things, but I have a new motion platform on the way and we'll be able to test. I'll test that. I'll do an endurance race specifically and see if we get any kind of different results. So, Amir, are you here? Oh, yeah, I know what it is. I was going to change my layout for this show to enable chat to be seen on the stream, and I was going to make it so I was a little bit smaller so that we could see everything. Little wiggle rig. Oh, it just shakes more, so it's the same. So, do we want another? I don't know if Amir's out buying more. I don't know if when you age, they talk about like prostate enlargement, and I literally do feel like I now have two bladders. I have my normal primary bladder, and then I have the other bladder that without like extra attention is the one that always screws me up because that's the one that no fail makes me in the middle of this show or a race have to get up and go. What a great conversation today. I'm just going to leave this on. I got to go pee. Yeah, Alesh, that's essential if you don't want to be electrocuting yourself. I have a butt kicker right below me. That thing's pulling some amps. All right, F1 2023, second final public closed beta test for F1 23. I did just submit my application. You know, I always had contacts at Formula One. And then with EA, there was a little more turnover in positions. And so then I didn't have a contact. So I literally went through the process of submitting my application to EA, not just Formula One, but straight to the big house, EA, and we just got accepted. So I'm going to work on getting this in for testing. But sign up at EA and register by yesterday. We're already past that. Okay, anyway, this week, nope. Make sure you subscribe to your YouTube channel so you don't miss out, you guys, because news is coming. They did a dev update, so gameplay features deep dive, Breaking Point 2, an F1 World deep dive. So again, all of this is on the YouTube page for F1 2023 that you can check out. Soundtrack reveal. Ooh. Here, the soundtrack that'll get all of your streams demonetized. Thank you, Codemasters. So here's the gameplay deep dive. You guys want a link for this one? I thought it was taking... There we go. I was going to say, I thought it was taking me to YouTube. So we can get this to you guys. Here you go. Give this to you guys. Here you go. Here's the gameplay deep dive for Codemasters.
F123's official deep dive part 1 with a focus on new gameplay features, handling improvements, new circuits and more. F123 delivers a universal leap forward in gameplay with
Okay, so that's there for you if you want to check it out. Great rundown, some major things. They talk about the deep dive. And yeah, and so anyway, F123 arrives June 16th. Pre-order the Champions Edition for 3 days early access. Now, that leads me to this. This is at Race Department. I'm sure if we had clicked that link to order it, we would have found out the same thing. But check this pricing out, you guys. So if you want to order F123, this is now the cost of a PC new title from the big houses. We are now $70. You know, I used to joke. Like, I even reference pricing in my iRacing 3.0 when I'm trying to justify the outrageous cost of iRacing, which you can't. But I reference, like, buying a $50 box title and some DLC and, you know, and anyway, in doing that, it made it much more reasonable. If I had used $70 as my reference, it would have been even more. That's a great question. That is a great... Timu. That is for Timu, Dave. So, if you want the Champions Edition, that gets you 3 days early access. I don't know what DLC or what extras are in it, but you're looking at $90, you guys. $90 for F123 Champions Edition. That is pretty steep. Same thing for the Xbox and the PlayStation, by the way. Same pricing. How do you guys feel about that? That's kind of crazy. All right, we talked about it, and here is the list. So this is the SimPit Olympic Esports Series. You like the way I did that? The Olympic Esports Series, Olympic officially licensed event. I keep saying they're going to get gold medals. I don't know if they literally get gold medals, but Tom Jones, $40. 40 seems reasonable. I'd even say 50 seems reasonable. There's only so many copies. They're precious. Limited order to 2 due to volume issues, just so you know. All right, so these are the qualifiers into the Olympic esport. And Ethium now following us. Thank you very much. Welcome to the crowd. Welcome to the crow. Crow. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the crowd. Welcome to the show. Yeah, well, you know, I remember once when I was trying to make a run for the GT, the original, the GT Academy, and I was, you know, fighting to be in that top 30 bracket you needed, and I was, you know, flirting with somewhere between, like, 28th and 40th spot, so I was, like, right on the line a few different times, and they kept resetting the servers because there was known cheating. And so as they'd purged the server of cheat times, they would inevitably just, like, try to fix things so they would completely clear the boards. And then it just got to the point where, like, I have a job. I can't keep redoing this level every time. Anyway, Caitlin, Caitlin, that's probably a very relevant point. Now, I do believe, and I'm sure they have to change this, but I think that there's more of a blanket deal. Like when you're part of Formula One, I think part of being in that series and part of that license is a certain amount of rights to your name and likeness that they own. It doesn't, so, and I think there are limitations to that as well, but I'm going to assume that F1 doesn't have to then negotiate with all the drivers independently. I don't think. But perhaps. Be nice. Maybe that's something we do on a, Simpit podcast. We could talk much more in depth on licensing and things like that. So, all right. I see a couple more questions. I want to make sure we do get all the questions addressed or answered. F123. So, depending on how it drives and what they've done, we're always waiting. We're just like Madden. If you look at Madden over its course of decades of being an annual release football title, there are years that the connoisseurs of that title were like, this is a must buy. Maxie, that was my brother coming and stealing coffee and leaving, I do believe. That's what I think Max just alerted me to. Rodney Wheeler, love the pit stop on YouTube. It's back, help you through COVID and Oh, I love hearing that. That's awesome. I thought I saw a question. How did I miss it? Somebody asked a question about a starter wheel. Did I miss that? Let me look back, and I thought I saw a question about a starter wheel. Bear with me, you guys. No, it wasn't there. Oh, there it is. It was from Ethium. What is a good entry-level wheel to get into sim racing? Okay. No, let's be fair. So, Ethium, we're going to help you out on that question. That's a great question, and a kind of question I love answering here on this particular show. So, do you have a budget, and are there other things? So, if we're going to do this right, so if like a good friend, so I'm going to call you a bro, if a bro came to me right now and was like, hey man, I want to get into the sim racing, I need a little more than just what's a good starter wheel. So, are you on a PC? Are you on the console? Do you have a rig? Are you putting it on a TV tray? Are you putting it on a desktop? Are you going to build a rig? What's your budget? Do you really have the bug? You think you're going to be doing it a long time? Those are all questions that I would really ask a bro if they're going to take their hard-earned money and buy a wheel to get into sim racing. So, now, so aren't you glad? Because I would have said, hey, the T300's a great starter wheel, man. John Hill, don't let me forget that. John Hill, I want to come back to that topic in just 1 minute. We're actually going to go back to F123. John Hill makes such a valid point here. And this even goes all the way back to Race Room. And this picture here. Okay. If I today... So... Alright, Ethium. Everybody, isn't this fun? I love doing this. So, Ethium. Now, okay, so 1,500, that's rig and setup? Or you're going to have a rig and you have 1,500 on your setup? Dave, there's another. If anyone can, on our Discord, I need a button to press. I need a video or something that plays every time we have a squirrel moment. And I'll need a new disclaimer something. All right, you already have a rig. You have $1,500 wheel and pedals, or do you already have pedals? We're going to take all day on this. As we answer this question on the wheel, very important question. John Hill said, but wait, I have to have the Vegas and the Miami tracks. All right, Ethium, give me 1 minute. We're going to come back to that. Everybody feel free to chime in with their thoughts on 1500 wheel, pedals, everything. You got the rig, so it's just wheel and pedals. But you need a wheel rim. So base, wheel rim, pedals, $1,500 budget. I'm going to give that a little thought as I go down this particular squirrel hole here. All right. One of my favorite. Dave Blair might have hit it right there, by the way. Can I do a GIF? Squirrel. All right. So, one of the reasons I love sim racing so much is its ability to allow me to drive things and places that I just never would, whether it's be budget or access because maybe it's a one-of-a-kind car. One of the greatest things about sim racing is being able to experience things that you cannot and will not. I don't even care if you're rich. There are scenarios in sim racing we can reproduce that, maybe even Elon Musk couldn't do in real life somehow, some way. And that is one of the best aspects of sim racing. So when you look at Formula 1 23, this is going to be the only game that has Vegas and Miami. I don't see how iRacing could reproduce it. There's no way they got a scan crew onto a Formula 1 street track in that amount of time. I don't know that, and anyone who would want to laser scan it isn't going to get that opportunity. So you would be doing it with track map. But let's face it, F123 is going to have the best and obviously the earliest access to that information. Hence the fact that you can now buy a game next month that would allow you to drive and experience both of those tracks. And that is something that you can't take away from the F1 franchise. It's something you can't take away from F123. And it is something that will, in its own way, separate it. And it is something that is going to make a lot of Formula 1 fans go to that game specifically for. So yeah, I think that's a really good reason. Now, does that justify $70? Does it? I don't know if it really does. Okay. Ethium, back to you and your question. Thanks for the sub, by the way. I see your sub. Right now, I think either the Chinese companies are offering you the most bang for the buck. Now, a year ago, I might have said I'd lean towards Fnatic, and then you got to kind of play with, do you want to spend a little more on this or a little more on that and sacrifice? So, you got to kind of distribute your budget. But yeah, right now, I think that a Moza R9 base is a really, really good base for the money, and you can get a pretty decent rim to go along with it. I think the Sim Magic Alpha Mini is a really, really good base, and you can get a good rim to match it. Then it's sort of like, what budget do you have left over for the pedals? Now, I personally would be like, here's me. I don't know, I'm not doing the math in my head real quick, but if I put a shopping cart together and I went and got an R9 base, I would then, honestly, I would probably then go get myself a set of Fnatic Club Sport pedals, because it's the least expensive pedals you can get that are going to give you just years of tried and true reliability and leave you a little bit of budget to stay on the wheel rim, whether you're with an R9 or an Alpha Mini. That's what I would probably do. I'd also consider both the Moza and the Sim Magic pedals. In the case of the current Sim Magic pedals, I think that's going to put you over budget, so they're probably out. And depending on the wheel rim that you're going to end up with, it might switch you between various. But I wouldn't cheap out on my pedals. I would cheap out on the wheel rim, knowing that I can upgrade the wheel rim later easier than the pedals themselves. So that's my recommendation. Yeah, I would probably right now be leaning to an Alpha Mini Sim Magic base or a Moza R9 and then a rim from either of them. And, you know, as a runner-up, I would put Fanatic in, and you know, 3 months ago, I would have just said that was the end right there, Moza or Sim Magic. It's only this month that I can put Fanatic back into the mix because I do believe they still have, they have inventory back in stock again. I'm sorry. Yeah, Terry, that's a great point. I mean, you could go down to the R5 and save, you know, $150 there. Not at that budget, no. I don't think I really would, Tom Jones. I don't think the Logitech... I haven't driven the Logitech. And when I've asked, you know, so it's hard for me to put that one on the list. I haven't driven the wheel. I haven't even seen... I haven't driven that even at an event or somebody or anywhere else. So, yeah, again, I wouldn't cheese out on the pedals, but I also wouldn't go mismatching. I wouldn't go buying a set of $1,000 pedals and then trying to get a wheelbase and rim for $500. That's why I kind of am like, well, I really am like, let's try to keep that pedal set down at that $400 or $500. I think you can get a great selection. So, yeah, but I think at $1,500, I think you can get a reliable setup that you'd only upgrade because you want to, not because you need to. You know, and whether you went with the R5, see, the R5 is only a Moza option. I mean, we're giving you more answers than questions and answers here. R5, the only way you're going to get it down that cheap is to go the Moza route. R9 is going to be comparable to the Alpha Mini, and then that's at a next price point. So, yeah, yeah. Or you could just take your entire budget and buy one Sim Magic pedal. All right. Did we give you enough? If Ethium, if you want to get in our Discord chat and continue this conversation in more detail, I would be more than happy to do that with you on our Discord. So get in our Discord, send me a private message, and you can, you know, ask me specific questions all day long on this, and we can make sure you're really set up, dialed in how you want to be. And I can give you people who will, you know, honestly make great arguments because, you know, Joa's going to tell you Sim Magic's a great option. You know why? Because Joe has had really great success, and it's turned his driving around when he got his Sim Magic wheel and Simtrex pedals, which are great pedals, but they're $1,000. That would break your bank. And Ken Estep, he's had great success. It's turned his driving around, switching over to Moza gear. So I think either of those you'll do all right. Fanatic would be a great runner-up. It's just going to cost you a little bit more. But I would definitely consider Club Sport pedals to this day. I still recommend those pedals as, you know, a decent load cell pedal that will, you know, allow you to leave a little more in the bank for other things. So, yep. All right. What else? I hope you guys like my answer. And again, like I said, Ethium, if you need more help, just hit me up on our Discord channel. All right. Whoops. We're backtracking. All right. We are on Gran Turismo and the Olympics. We are still on Formula One. And again, Race Room. Race Room's the only place that you're going to be able to drive the track that we were talking about. So the specific tracks to certain sims are always going to be a draw for certain fan bases. And that, like John pointed out, might be a reason alone for me to get Formula One, just because be like, hey man, I've heard so much about this Miami track, I really am intrigued by the Vegas track. I want to check them out, and that's pretty good. So, all right. Dan should be pro Clar. Dan put in the work, though. I think we are judging Dan based on where he kind of left things off, and he kind of come back in with some new vigor. And yeah, we always have a couple of people who, in a season-long run, will perform higher or lower than our expectations. It's really always hard to cover all of that. So, all right. Anyway, I don't want to massacre all these names. But we can see our top 10 finalists based on time and the countries that they represent. Mangano, Drumont, Mangano of Italy, Drumont of France, Carrazza of Brazil, Kaj Racer, R8G Kaj Racer, gamertag, talk about gamertag, from the Netherlands, Murdoch from the United Kingdom, Serrano of Spain, TTG USK of Japan, Indostroza of Chile, that name, IGTSHSZOTYI42X from Hungary, and Yashit Perez of Lebanon are our 10 in on time. Just like the Olympics, the hosting nation gets representation. So the top Singapore athlete was Alif Hamilton. And so anyway, it'll be really cool to see this Olympic event play out. And we've talked about this and how it is good or bad. Getting back to, this gets back to what we were talking about with Ethium. I just don't know what things are on people's have to have list versus do you need it or want it list. So right here, I have this amazing GSI wheel. I mean, this wheel is by far the best wheel I've ever owned. And it is actually sort of like their OG model, which means it's almost like the bottom of their line at this point as well, funny enough. And then you see things like this that you're like, man, I want that so bad because it is just so cool. But then do you need it? Now, depending on your sim racing, you can argue for backlighting, right? But anyway, these are the kind of things on startup that really excite me. In fact, so much so, I don't know why all wheels don't automatically program a startup thing, because I think it just makes it look cooler. So when I turn on my computer, my wheel, like in the old G25 days, and when I turn on your computer and your wheel's all I just think that's cool. You'd already have it if it was screenless. Yeah, so I'm going to start running in some VR. Screens and fancy lights just don't matter. Yeah, I like the idea of having lighting like that for flags. But yeah, I think there was another one here. There's some pictures. It's pretty cool. So that's it dark. And that's it lit up. You think it's cheesy, John? Oh, John, maybe you're just old. No, you know what? This is so important to be said about sim racing products in general. And talk about beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, truth be told, the Simtrex pedals. Do you guys remember our review of the Simtrex pedals? Let's see here. Can I find them? Here we go. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I fell in love with these pedals when I first saw pictures of them from Sim Racing Expo. And you guys are not gonna believe why. The reason I love these pedals so much is because a pair of sunglasses that I owned in 2000. It was a pair of Oakleys that I'd saved up forever to buy that were silver with these blue lenses. And the silver and blue combination I just thought it was such a cool color combo. And it's like underutilized. Maybe that's why I was a Cowboys fan when I was a kid. Anyway, I aesthetically were just in love with these pedals because of the silver with blue accents. And I'm like, that's a great color combo. And it took me a while to figure out and remember why. And it was those damn Oakleys that influenced such a thing years later, decades later. And anyway, and it just shows you how much aesthetics, how important aesthetics are in whether you like or love something. We all know, we all have color schemes that we like, right? Like, damn well if you had a race car, you'd paint it a certain color. And how do you know it? Because it's the color you paint your sim rigs. So I can only imagine that if David Clymer were to get a real race car, that he would probably paint it red and gray. I can only imagine that if, Amir were going to get a real race car tomorrow, he would paint it purple. All right, so we all know and love and have color schemes. Yeah, Terry just said everything on his rig is green. So everything's built for a reason, and it's to hit us on those aesthetic, that je ne sais quoi, right? I just don't know what it is that makes me love that wheel so much, but I really do. All right. So anyway, all right, GSI. I love that. They haven't posted about it yet, but I'll give you a reminder. Next Wednesday is Ricmotech Hot Lap Pump Day, the May edition, where you can win a Hot Lap Pump Day, a Ricmotech t-shirt, not a Hot Lap Pump Day t-shirt, a Ricmotech t-shirt, and an entry into the finale in December, which will be very exciting. So only 12 invitees. You got to win your way in, and this next Wednesday will be another one of those opportunities. The GT Max is completely bricked due to firmware. Oh, no. That's not cool. Tom Jones, see, that's exactly what I mean. Little things like lighting or colors. Could be the lights because the lights are green or the lights are blue. Something so basic and simple. Sorry to hear that that's not running. Anyway, join us for that. We'll be here. I reviewed the original Octane shifter. It was actually pretty impressive. Really impressive, actually. And apparently there is a Octane Designs sequential shifter V2 now. So it looks like Game Reactor, which is a total gaming site, is talking about it here. So if you want more on that, you'll find it at Game Reactor. And I should reach out to them. This here is about the coolest thing. David Payne posted this in our news channel. And this, I'm like, this is so cool. So what you're seeing here, believe it or not, and if you look at the people in the room, you can figure it out. This is a child receiving surgery. I don't know what on. I don't know a whole lot about the story, but you can see he's alert and awake. And generally speaking, they don't want to knock you out, but, surgery is traumatic, especially for a child. How do you keep a child distracted while something uncomfortable is being done? And this is really cool. So this really cool little, looks like a Porsche, like one of those Barbie cars, but a Porsche one. But somebody has mounted a Logitech DFGT wheel rim to it, and the kid is laying down so he's comfortable for surgery and looking up at the monitor driving. What a great distraction. And yeah, well, that would work, depending on your age, John Hill, that would work. But I think this is just, kids are I can't even imagine being a parent. I don't have kids, but I can't even imagine being a parent and having a child who had to go in for surgery, even if it was not even that dangerous, but just the process and how scary the whole thing is. So I just feel like this is one of the coolest things ever, ever. So anyway, really cool to see something like that, and a great use of sim racing, and maybe making a sim racer at a very young age. All right, let's look at some sim rigs. Then we're gonna talk about some sim racing. So this looks like a Legends wheel. That is an older car. Oh, I didn't realize we had video. It gets even better. This is Gran Turismo. Yeah, Terry, I can't, dude. Being honest, one of the reasons I don't have kids to be, I just felt like that was the kind of stuff that I wasn't built for. Like, I can't even deal with the emotion of my dog throwing up. Like like, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. And it's so helpless to me that and just having animals was enough that I was like, I can't even imagine doing that for a being. And I know that's not what you're supposed to focus on, because parenthood is a beautiful thing. But those are the kind of things that screw me up. By the way, that's a Benz, not a... Oh, that could be, John. But hey, even more reason for distraction, no? No, brisses are done. Brisses aren't done at a hospital. Aren't they done in a synagogue? If I'm not mistaken. Bucho! What up? Happy Friday, buddy. So. Are you serious, Joa? That's awesome. Joa says that up there, Joa lives in Canada. They have a kids' hospital there where the doctors dress in cartoon costumes for the kids, so to remove fear. I'm still afraid of I am still afraid of the doctor. So anyway, I love this. I don't care what surgery, and you know what? I hope other doctors are seeing this, because I'll tell you, you could set this up for me and work with me right now, and I would be totally cool with it. Look, he's more focused on. Look at how focused the kid is on that as the doctor's working on him. That is freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. All right, let's move on. Testing the waters of sim racing with their first ever wheel and pedals. Logitech setup on a wheel stand. There you go. Great way to start out. At the there you go. Oh my god. Oh.
Wow, it's very nice.
Hey, Pete Snake, how you doing? Okay, anyway, there you go. Finally joining. Someone's got the brand new starter set. Chicago St. Jude's. I've heard great things about that hospital, by the way. Bucho. So, yep. Rig upgraded to VR. Rig upgraded VR to triple. I don't know. So, how many of you consider VR an upgrade to triples? And how many of you consider triples an upgrade to VR? Yeah. That poor app Mankini is way to mount the wheel. I don't think I would trust that at all. Hey Mo, how you doing, Mo Sim Games? How you doing? Dave Blair says triples are better. Phil has both and prefers triples. Stefan Boot, VR is the only way. Never tried VR, so triples, please. Fair enough. Caitlin, yep, Caitlin, VR. How long are you racing for? That could affect my answer there. VR is awesome. VR, so here's my answer on that. I honestly feel one monitor. There you go, James. I'm going to go back to my curved single screen for some reason. Here's my real answer to this. You're wrong. You're right. One isn't better than the other. It's what do you prefer? And honestly, I mean, there is no comparing. I don't care how much money you spend. You could have the biggest triples in the world. You could have a curved projection monitor as big as this room. And I'm going to tell you right now that that does not compare to being in VR. Now, with that said, as Caitlin mentioned, VR has its flaws. VR has its problems. But there is no denying that you are in the rig. You are in the car. The depth perception, the timing, the reality of being in the car cannot be compared to. You put a race car helmet on, and it changes the environment of life just putting a helmet on, seeing through this. So when you're in VR, it does. It's weird how it's exactly the same as what you see out of your helmet. So I'm not going to tell anybody they're wrong. VR is amazing, and at the same time, triples are simple, reliable. No one gets sick on them. You don't overheat. You can be there all day. So I think that's for me. I think it's a calibration. I see what you're saying there, Terry. That triples are best at feeling like you're at the in a race, versus VR feels like you're in the car. I think a little of that could be like calibration and acclimation. I think the longer that you get in your VR, the more you do it and throw the triples out, the more you get synchronized, the closer you get to that same racing feeling too. But I get what you're saying. The thing about, for me, with the VR and why even racing feels more like racing is the looking over. When you're side by side, me and James Dowling spend most of the race door to door. That's how we race each other. And, being able to look over and see him and want to touch the mirror because I'm so in the car that I feel like I'm there, right? Notice how I did that? I'm on my radical. I reached out the right side of the car to tweak his mirror. So, the gray screen in the middle of the race, that never works. Yeah, VR is really tough for long things. And Sim Retro Racer, that's a factor for so many. If you get motion sick at all, VR is a non-topic, right? There's no way. You have a fan to stay cooler on your, that would help. I would like to upgrade. I'm on a Rift, and I haven't Rift S, and I haven't used it in a while. Or is it a Rift? Regular Rift. I can't even remember. It's been so long. But I'd like to get into something more modern to give it a new try. I'm going to fire up the Rift and get back to it. But I would definitely... you ran for 3 years straight. So, okay. Fair enough. VR on the PlayStation. Interesting. I haven't tried that yet, but I haven't really upgraded there either. 3D projectors are amazing, Caitlin. I've run that many a time as well, and it is really... There's a company called SimPit that does curved screens for like this scale instead of full room scale, because like the Porsche simulators like full room, like movie theater size, but the SimPit New Zealand makes a curved screen that's built for I think it's 2 projectors, and it is amazing because they have the way the screen is. It doesn't get some of the other issues that you get. Everything has a pros and cons, you guys. I'll tell you what sucks about monitors. Monitors put off a lot of friggin' heat. So, if you... Now, some screens are less than others, but, triples put off a lot of heat. VR can be claustrophobic or hot for that reason, which is different because it's just on your head hot versus heating up the whole corner that you race in. Projectors are really prone to external lighting. Projectors can, depending on your setup, they can have an issue with lighter, whiter, brighter colors. So there's always a yin and yang to every setup, I feel, and nothing's perfect just yet. Oh, gray on the center screen. That's not gonna help. But yeah, so the Icarus, so the Icarus, which is the curved screen I was referring to by the sim pit, the other sim pit, I think they used to be a black screen, so have they changed that? But they, you can do a black screen if you have the right setup, and it actually makes the color, or it was the opposite. You can't do blacks because it's a white screen. I don't know. But I do know there are downsides to even projection. But if you can control all the light and you can get the right scale of the monitors to the rig you're in, projection is hard to beat because you don't get the heat. You get almost a feels like in the car feeling. Maybe not exactly as much as the VR experience, but pretty darn close, and then you get to run free of any of that and no monitors, all that good stuff. So anyway, I'd love to get an Icarus and do that setup, but I don't know if it would be good for the show because it's very hard to control everything. George Samman says, speaking to an alien level driver here, runs VR exclusively despite having triples. But it acknowledges a touch slower. Pimax. See, I want to get a Pimax. See, Pimax reached out to me, and then our conversation just kind of dropped. They contacted me about getting the Pimax Crystal. Isn't that their latest greatest? They talked about sending me a crystal, and again, they reached out to me. So I don't know. I need to find that email and get back in touch with them. Ooh, look at this rig, you guys. Tinkering, Chapter 69, the dash, the switches, and the backboard. I want you guys to know, again, part of the point of this show is transparency. I am going to start building my rig and not pulling things off of it. So I've always had a philosophy to keep my rig really basic so that when I was reviewing a new product, it was easy to get camera angles on it, easy for your eyes to really see what we were talking about. And I've decided it's time to build up a rig where I just kind of just keep adding to it. And it'll be something like this. We'll get like our wind sim turned back on, our eye flags. I'll probably build a canopy, do all the kind of stuff that I would be doing with my rig if it wasn't for the show. And so we'll do a no holds barred here, and it'll be like this: Chapter 1, Chapter 2. And I think Amir's going to take on the same kind of challenge. So, is the crystal ever going to be released? I hope so. Maybe that's why maybe that's why I didn't hear back. Maybe there are delays and I'll hear back from them when that gets sorted out. But yeah. Exactly, Apex. Exactly. There's no comparing VR to other setups. I'm not saying it's better. But Phil, that's exactly my plan. So the new plan moving forward, and I don't have the room for it, but I just was like, it's time to do it. So I'm going to make the room somehow, some way, but I want my rig, and then I want the mule, and the mule will be the rig. When we get a new wheel in and we're testing it, it'll go on the mule. And then, yeah, that's exactly what I'm working on. Yeah, well, the wind sim will take care of that for me, too. I always loved the wind sim, but it wasn't good on my mule or test rig. Another VR supporter, David in, Rodney in, Apex in. Yes, Stefan, that's exactly the point. Like, you don't need flashy lights. You don't need a display on your dash. You don't need anything extra. I mean, and even to an extent, you might even be arguing whether you need shifters or handbrakes or other stuff. What if you get a mule review? Well, then I'll just slide it out of the room. temporarily. Yeah, well, and so Caitlin, what I have been waiting for, see, if they were going to make VR 100% made for sim racing, you would then, so a few of the VR units have a look-through feature, like my Rift, when it wants to like scan the room, I can see a black and white version of the room I'm in. What it needs is to be able to implement the... How did that just start playing at it? Oh, they're going live on the Bathurst 2 hour. Hey, Terry, Joa, good luck, you guys. Good luck in that race. All right. What the VR needs is they need stickers, like fluorescent stickers that you put on the buttons of your button box, stickers that you put on the buttons of your wheel. And somehow the transparency would allow those highlight spots to show up in your vision so that you can actually reach out and touch your button box. There you go. So there are overlays that'll do such things. So VR is just basically equal to triples or double or actually smaller than triples in some ways as far as performance goes. So I think you can look at the graphics needed as 2 screens versus 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think VR is probably about the same as a curved widescreen. Now, when you get into the Pimax resolution, that might be a different ballpark altogether. So, OVR Toolkit, that's the Overlays in Space app. Okay. All right. I love Beat Saber. Beat Saber's freaking fun. All right. Let's see here. We're running overtime. We're not going to look at rigs. Let's move on to some SimPit racing. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to get back to editing or we won't have a show. And we are definitely already long for today. So, all right. I am very, very happy to announce. Thank you, Callum. Thank you so much for being in charge of and taking care of the SimPit Rally League. The SimPit, they're running historics this year, you guys. So this is the Dirt Rally 2.0 SimPit Historic Rally Series. They're going to run from May 19th through August 11th. So you have 5 days or a week. No, a whole week. You have a whole week. That's next Monday, or next Friday, I'm sorry, that they'll be starting things off. And you can see the schedule here. And you can see they're going to be changing types of cars. So we're going to be running the H1 for the first 3 weeks, H2 front wheel drive, H2 rear wheel drive, and then on to the H3 for the final 3 races of the season. This is done through the Dirt Rally clubs, by the way. But if you want information, I gave the Discord link out. I'm going to give it one more time here since we're towards the end of the show. We'll give another link. If you would like to be part of any of the racing that I'm about to talk to, any of the SimPit community racing, all you need to do is get in on this. And yeah, so you can be part of the SimPit Historic Rally Series starting up next week. So we got that going on. That should be a lot of fun. And also coming up next week is the beginning of the SimPit Assetto Corsa Competizione, running the new content, new cars, and some of the new tracks. And anyway, we have a SimPit GT America. It's really tailored towards an American crowd with the pick of tracks and the time slot, and they run on Fridays, as well as the GT European. Now, both of these you have to join through Sim Racing GP. But again, if you get into the SimPit Discord, you'll find a thread for the Assetto Corsa Competizione series where you can get any help you need to join on both of those. Really good racing in Dirt Rally, really good racing in Assetto Corsa Competizione. In the SimPit Oval Series last week there at Texas, I really wanted to run this race last week. and I just ran out of time. I've been so backed up on stuff, and I just couldn't make it, unfortunately. But Joe Hildinger wins the race. David Clymer comes into second, and Calix Weitzel finishing in third place. Congratulations to all those guys. And let's see here. We just got where is our thing is going backwards? What way is our chat going? I just got some notification that I can't see what happened, but it happened somewhere. Nope, none of my notifications are working. Texas went caution-free. That's awesome. See, yeah, look at that, 0. Talk about what a great group, you guys. 15 guys on the track ran caution-free at Texas. Joe Hildinger wins, David and Calix. And with that, our league standings are Joe Hildinger leading the way with a 6-point margin over David Clymer and Calix Weitzel. So our top 3 finished top 3 in that race. And Calix about 15 points back of David Clymer. So good fight going on. And this coming Monday, they will be at Daytona in the Sim Pit Road Series. Man, I had such a good race going until I didn't. Anyway, the Sim Pit Radical SR8 Championship was at Suzuka last Sunday. And it was Oldest Puticlus who won the race. Great job, Oldest. Really good job. Terry Crouch coming in second place. Randall White finishing in third. And that's in our pro class. In our amateur class, we ran caution-free, by the way, just so you know, at Suzuka. Look into the amateur class. Ola Sarnquist wins the race. Dan Clark in second. Christian Clark finishing in third. And you know better, Terry. You know better. You've done the low downforce wins before. Here's the way the points look after 6 rounds. Terry Crouch leading the way with 201 points. Randall White in second, 176. And Pete Snake, great job, Pete, 153 points, sitting in third. In our amateur class, Ola Sarnquist is leading in the points. Chris Schultes in second, and Callum McLeod in third. Dan Clark, how come you're only at 1? Oh, because you missed a race. That's why. Because Dan's having a great season other than missing that one race. So anyway, that is in the Sim Pit Road League. And this week, this Sunday, we're at Long Beach, which I am very, 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 very much looking forward to. Not only Long Beach, I can tell you, the Radical at Long Beach is going to be fun. It's a bouncy car. That's a kind of track that bounces cars. It'll be sketchy. It'll be fun. So that'll be on... Oh, it's on Mother's Day. Oh, that's right. There is no race. Wait. What is the date here? What is the date of our next race then? No. Sorry. Ooh. Look at that date. All right, so no race. It's Sunday. There is no race. So sorry, you guys. Sorry about that. That's next week. All right, forget it. All right, big shout out to Mike Vowles. He won our Sim Pit Patron Appreciation Race. This is a race we try to do. We just got him going this last month, and we did run the Pro 2 trucks at Wild West Motorsport Park, and Mike put on quite a show. Definitely the strong dirt racer of the group. I believe he took the pole and won the first race, and then won the second race from last starting position. So you're gonna race my mom on Sunday. It was a super long show today, huh, Phil? Is that good or is that bad? But I think it's time to bring this one to a close. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all for being part of the Sim Pit community and crowd. It does make doing this show a lot of fun. I love our community, and we talked about all the great racing, and all that is really important to me. So, yeah. Anyway, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we will have the Sim Pit podcast. That's going to be right here on both channels, it looks like. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we're going to have Amir Assad and me together to talk about what's going on in the Sim Pit. I know we covered a lot of that today. It's going to be welcoming Amir back to the show. He was deployed for 6 months abroad, and now he's back in action. He should be racing again. He's going to be putting out content and giving me a hand on all things Sim Pit. So I'm excited to have him back, and tomorrow will be a good way for you guys to ask him anything about life and things in general, and we'll talk about the path and the future of the Sim Pit and everything that we have planned. So you guys, also one more shout out to the Sim Pit racing teams running this in the Nürburgring 24-hour tomorrow. Team Blue, Ola Sarnquist, Johnny Alford, Chris Schultes, and Brandon Carl. Good luck in that beautiful Porsche. And a big shout out, congratulations, and good luck to Callum McLeod, Phil Scrutton, Wouter Van Morik, Dave Blair, and Ken Estep running the GR86 in tomorrow's race. So, good luck, you guys. Have fun. Have fun. Have a good race. And you always represent the Sim Pit well. So, I'm very, very proud of you guys and very appreciative. So, everyone get out there, do some racing. Go enjoy Mother's Day weekend. And I wish the best. You know, if it weren't for your moms, you wouldn't be here being part of my friends. So the best from me and from the Sim Pit to your moms. Happy Mother's Day to all of them. And thank you again for being part of all of this. This is the Sim Pit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.